Welcome to the Fantasy Hackers Podcast, where we have broken the code for daily fantasy sports and let you in on the secrets.
Brethren, welcome back.
It's good to be back. Scott?
Thanks. I'll have you know, the last 3 entries I've done, I've won, thanks to fantasyhackers.com. fantasyhacker.com. It's like a cheat code. It's like you can't lose.
How much are you winning? Are you betting more than $1 so that you can at least?
No.
Let's not get crazy.
Because if you're betting $1 and you've won 3 times, you're still not covering your costs.
No, I got first place out of 475 people. I won $50 off of $1.
Scott's a tournament winner. He's already won his money back from Fantasy Hacker.
I can play 50 more times and still break even. Lose all of those. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good odds.
Is that an Iowa State wrestling? I thought you'd be more of a Penn State guy.
No, I am the associate head coach is my very good friend, so heavy rooter for Iowa State.
Are you just saying that just because none of us can fact check you because we don't know any coaches?
No,
well, I know Rulon Gardner.
That's not a wrestler.
Well, I know Kurt Angle.
Derek St. John is his name. Great man.
Elder. Hey, wait. We're not interested in Eric St. John.
All right.
Before you go down that path, just put it up there.
Let's end it right there.
Shout out to Derek if he follows us.
Roasted.
Elders, forgive me, but I have discovered a hatred for another person in the NBA, but I can't remember who it was. So I'm going to have to do some digging while on this podcast.
Let me cut you off there because if you don't know the name, we're not interested in this one.
Whoever you are, I hate you, and I'm coming for you.
For our listeners who were unaware, we took last week off. We had a business meeting at the Jazz game, so it wasn't an opportune time to do a podcast. But
we're doing research and development.
Yeah. Good call.
I feel like it's pretty good.
Josie did enjoy some curly fries at the game. So
There's all this delicious food. Josie shows up with 3 plates of curly fries and nachos.
Don't forget the mini corn dogs.
Oh, yes, mini corn dogs.
Which I personally enjoyed. I mean, I wish I'm down on the trade. They could have put more than 3 corn dogs in a basket. Had to get like 6 baskets to get a decent.
They're free baskets. You can grab as many as you want, but he's upset about how many are in each basket.
Well, anything new for... Oh, Joe, you look tired.
I am very tired. Long day, Elders. But I'm here. Peep the door. And we're good. If you're interested in door work, shoot me a message separately. And we'll rearrange some deals. I don't look well. This isn't good. I didn't realize I didn't look well. Oh, this is not good.
You look like
What's unfortunate is
you're not ready for a pair of twins that's about to come.
No, I almost started crying today. I was on a meeting and someone in my work was like giving a intro, like, yeah, I got 5 kids under the age of 13. And I was like, I'm gonna have 5 kids under the age of 6. This is not good. It's not good for anyone. It's especially not good for me. I don't look well already. Imagine me in a month.
It's gonna be rough.
My wife told me I'm getting gray hair the other day. Just not good. My eye, I can't even look. What's unfortunate is I'm not even tired. I just look tired.
Yeah, you look very fatigued.
Which is worse than being tired, I feel. If you look tired and you're not, something's wrong. I'm going to have to get in the doctor.
Yeah, get that checked out.
Yeah. I go to the doctor every 3 months for a preventative. I want blood work done. I want the liver, kidney, heart. I do P test. I get the prostate. I want all things checked every 3 months. I want the report, and then I go on.
Does the prostate the one where you got to drink that big drink? And
No, it is not. I wish
You're
it
not doing
was.
that.
No, I'm not. I don't knock on wood. I have diabetes, Elder. Just
Not
making sure
yet.
I'm healthy.
You eat enough of those corn dogs.
Yeah, see, that's give or take, Got to stay on top of the blood work if I want to continue my corn dog ways.
Well, good on you. I've never met a man committed to his health quite like you.
Thank you.
Every 3 months going to the doctor.
If not, I mean that's
Good question.
minimum. If I go longer than 3 months and haven't been to the doctor, I'm nervous something's wrong. The healthier I am, the more nervous I get.
Well, should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
The Main Slate Breakdown.
If you're new to the podcast, basically what we do, we just kind of break down some of the big games coming up each week. So it's Tuesday, January 7th. The big games coming up are the college football playoffs, but that's not really our specialty, so we're going to stick to basketball. Some semi-big games coming up on Wednesday, January 8th. Oh, actually a few good ones. First off, we got OKC and Cleveland, arguably two of the best young stars in the league, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then our very own Donovan Mitchell. Brandon, walk us through OKC and Cleveland. I'll tell you real quick. Over-under is 227.5, which for DraftKings, a lot of people probably wouldn't care about. But we do care about it. Tell us why. Why do we care about the over-under?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the over-under is factoring in teams' pace, their defensive abilities. So, like when you're playing a team like New York, for example, that's gonna force the over-under lower because they play good defense and they take 20 to 24 seconds off of the clock every time they touch the ball. So there's just going to be less possessions in a game. And if there's less possessions in the game, there's less opportunities in a game. If there's less opportunities in a game, there's less fantasy points to go around. So, the looking at the over-unders is going to give us a good idea of the pace of the game and how many points are going to be scored, obviously. And the more points are scored, the more assists there are, the more fantasy points there are to go around.
So with OKC and Cleveland, I'd say they're probably pretty standard. The over-under is 227.5. So I don't know the exact average in the NBA, but it's definitely not super high, not super low.
Yeah, it's probably about 220 this year. I think which is higher than obviously in years past. And that number keeps driving up as teams shoot more and more threes, but it's still higher than normal. So 227 is a good game to play. It's gonna be a close game. Both really good teams, so you're gonna get plenty of minutes out of your stars and out of your studs. So Donovan Mitchell's priced at 8,400. It looks like
Should be priced at 8,000, so he's a little expensive.
Yeah, he is a little expensive, but it's one of those games. Like whenever I'm thinking about stars, it's kind of like you really want to look at the value when you're filling out your lineup, but look at the slate and decide find these games where it's going to be a battle. This could very well turn into a Donovan versus Shai matchup where both of them are taking it personal and both of them are trying to show out and putting up numbers. So you kind of got to go with your gut. I mean, just because he's overpriced doesn't mean that he's not going to win you a tournament. So if you're going tournament mode, I'd have no problem if you tell me you're playing Donovan Mitchell, even though he's a little overpriced.
What about Shai? Because he's about the same overpriced as Donovan. If they're the same overpriced, who would you take in that game?
Let's see. Who we have? Maybe any injury news that you guys can see?
I have Caruso is out.
Okay.
Chet Holmgren is out.
Yeah. So that might lead me a little bit more to Shai. If Chet's out, he might carry a little bit bigger load. Looks like Darius Garland's going to play, so it might take away a little from Donovan, but
and Caruso's out, so Shai's going to pick up some minutes there.
Donovan's Donovan. They're both overpriced. Donovan is cheaper, so he's less of a risk, right? So Shy, if you're spending 10,500 on him, that's almost. I mean, that's a big chunk of your lineup. So if he gets in foul trouble or something dumb happens, he gets ejected. I mean, I wouldn't plan him getting ejected, but let's say he gets a couple cheap fouls and ends up on the bench to your lineup, your night's over. If Donovan gets a few cheap fouls and ends up on the bench, you could still win a 50-50 or a head-to-head. But
Can I interject here real quick? I don't know where this started, but I want to put an end to it. It's Shea.
sorry,
Shea
that's my bad.
Gilgeous-Alexander, not
You
Shy.
should spell it correctly then.
Well, his
Elders,
mother
can you
did that.
think of anything the NBA would rather see less than a Cleveland, Oklahoma City Thunder NBA Finals? The only thing worse would be like if the Jazz were in the finals. The only reason the league put up with the Jazz being in the finals in the 90s was because Jordan was in it as well. I'm fully convinced that the league is not a fan of small markets. They will do what they can to eliminate where they can. With that being said, I did remember the person, and he's moved up my list quite a bit. Number 4 is Jimmy Butler.
We
Do
didn't
not
ask.
do not like Jimmy Butler. He's a scrub. He's a bum. He doesn't do anything for anyone. What good is getting to the finals if you can't win the finals? Don't tell me like, oh, I got my team to the finals. You didn't win the finals, Jim, and then you quit, and now you want out on your fourth team.
I'm sure it's hard to work with Jimmy Butler.
And then he says he says he'll play anywhere but Miami, and then it came out today that he said no, I will not be traded to Memphis. Just down
Can
on
you
Jimmy.
blame the man, though?
Down on Spoelstra too, though, as well. Scrub coach.
Anyway, moving on. I'll give you a couple of value picks in this game. They're not great value picks. Like I said, the stars are overpaid, but Andrew Wiggins should be priced at 3,500 according to our metrics.
It's
He's at
Aaron.
3,200. And then
Aaron
Niang should be priced at 3,400, priced at 3,200. So Niang and Wiggins, that's one from Cleveland, one from OKC. There should be a little bit of a value in that game.
Take a look at Cason Wallace and Lou Dort as well. I think they're going to be valued in the 6s, maybe.
So Cason Wallace should be almost 3,900. He's at 3,700. So he's okay too. And what was the other one?
Lou Dort.
Dort. Let me get him here. Yeah, he should be 4,500, and he's 4,000. So that's actually the best value of the night. Is probably Lou Dort that I can find.
Yeah, those are Lou Dort, Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins is coming off the bench. Lou Dort's a starter. They're going to combine for 58 minutes, and they're only going to have. It's only going to cost you 4,000 and 3,200. So those are good value ones to fill out your lineups for sure.
Karis LeVert is also good value, but he's also the opponent ranked number first, so he's getting selected a lot. So
also, if I remember right, actually, this is one of those that's just like a tag off the books. Remember Lou? Lou was the Donovan stopper when Donovan was in Utah. Lou
Mendison?
Lou Dort.
Lou Dort.
Oh, Lou Dort.
Yeah. Lou Dort was the Donovan stopper. So I don't know if Donovan's figured it out since he's left Utah, but I remember that being a thing. Every time we played at OKC, I was like, oh man, Lou Dort's going to lock him down. And Lou Dort would torch him too. Like, I like Lou Dort.
So this is for real a lockdown, not Andre Iguodala being awarded the MVP for being the LeBron stopper when he averaged a triple-double.
I was pulling for Donovan, and I was still worried about it every time we played Lou Dort. He's small, he's fast, he's strong, he's physical. Creates problems for Donovan, I feel like. But, yeah, I've completely switched. I've flip flopped on this. I'd go Shy and Lou Dort to start my lineup. Sorry, Shea and Lou Dort to start my lineup.
I would take that to the bank. Nobody knows people that can shut the Jazz down better than Adams. He spends a lot of time barking at him during games. So,
let's move on to. I'm looking for the most boring game. Okay, Portland at New Orleans. They don't even have an over/under on this one.
Vegas hasn't even bothered.
Yeah, very boring. Portland, New Orleans. Zion's back, right?
Yeah, he looks like
Zion's
I got
back.
him slot in for 30 minutes tomorrow. Not a great value.
Our outs are Brandon Ingram. That's a big out.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Grant.
That's probably why Zion's priced up. So his Brandon Ingram being out. But
Also, Trey Murphy is out.
Yeah, we got Shaden Sharp. Looks like he may be a decent value. DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, I would avoid the stars in this one. I would fade. Man, I took Anthony Simmons in a lineup this year, and it burned me. Man, he had like 4 points.
I've found that there's certain guys that are statistically, like when you look at their averages, they're pretty good, but there's fairly
huge variance.
inconsistent.
Yeah.
Even one who's the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry. I was looking at him, and he's a little bit older than he was during his prime, but he still puts up pretty good numbers. But he'll have really off nights. When you're spending a lot of money on a guy like that, it sucks when he has an off night. A guy, on the other hand, that never has an off night, I feel like, is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I feel like he's always good. And the Joker. I feel like Jokic is always putting up huge numbers.
That Utah-Denver game we went to, we were like, man, it feels like the Joker's been kind of quiet. We looked up, he's got 30, 20, and 10.
Yeah, he smoked that game.
Yeah, he was unreal. So, yeah, some of those quote-unquote stars, I don't know. I feel like take them at your own risk, because you could have a nice lineup, and then if your main guy he just has an off night, which could happen with anyone, but I feel like there are some guys that are more inconsistent.
I mean, I'm showing a little bit of value with Shaden Sharp and DeAndre Ayton, but even at that, they're at 5,700 and 6,200. So if you're going like a stars and scrubs build, you can't even play those guys, because that's going to be like middle of the pack salary. That's going to.
What about this one? I found one that I think's a good value. Boston Jr. should be valued at 4,500. He's 3,400. That's a pretty good spread.
Brandon Boston. Yeah, I mean, depends how many minutes he gets. I think he'd been playing a little bit maybe because of injury, but.
Well, I mean, you do have Murphy out, Ingram out.
Yeah, could be. I mean, I think it's probably one of those that depends where they go with the injuries, if they're going to play him or not. Looks like RotoWire's only projecting him at 6 minutes. So if that's the case, he's got to get like 2.5 fantasy points a minute.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to check in. Josie, do you follow all this?
As much as you'd expect.
So no.
Right.
Hey, what's your feelings on Jose Alvarado?
I know you love Jose Alvarado.
My personal feelings or the group's feelings?
Your feelings.
I'm impartial. I appreciate his hustle. I appreciate his effort. But yeah, I don't have a problem with him.
He might be one of my favorite players in the league.
Any specific reason?
I was just like that he's undersized and he plays so hard, and he tries to cheat by hiding in the stands.
I'd like to share with you one of my favorite players, and we just talked about him last time, but I want to tell you why, is Alex Caruso. And it's because me and my wife...
You kind of look like Alex Caruso, if I'm being honest.
We are both bald. That's one reason why. He's a white bald dude, which I love, but his fiance was a contestant on Big Brother, and I watched Big Brother with my wife, and I remember that. I watched the whole season, and I really liked that girl. And sure enough, now she's dating Alex Caruso. They're engaged.
Well, what a great reason to like an NBA player.
I agree.
Isn't it, bro? Isn't it?
Who do you feel won that trade? The Bulls or the Thunder?
The Thunder. I like Alex Caruso. He's gritty.
Gritty, not to be mistaken for Giddy, who was in the trade.
Yeah, not to be mistaken for Giddy.
Nice play on words there, Joe. That was well done.
Thank you.
I mean, based on where based on where the Bulls are and where the Thunder are right now, I would say that the Thunder won the trade.
Yeah.
Does Sam Presti always just get it right? That guy's amazing.
I wonder what he's like in real life. I wonder if he's like a jerk.
Probably. I still like him though.
Yeah, Adams, the Jazz play the Hawks currently right now at home. Is that right?
Yeah.
Have you been to the game when Quinn has coached with the Hawks since he left the Jazz? And if so, how was his reception?
Not that I remember. My parents are there right now, so I'll have to ask them. I can report back next week.
Yeah, thank you.
We better move to the next game here. We've got a slate of games.
Oh yeah, we got to move on. Let's choose a more interesting one. This one's interesting. San Antonio at Milwaukee. You got the Alien versus the Greek Freak. Tickets as low as $8. That's pretty amazing. Over under on this one is 221.5. So right on the average, according to Adams. But yeah,
Does
Victor
it show do you have the spread by chance? Is this a blowout?
Milwaukee by 5.5.
All right.
It's at
Okay.
Milwaukee.
I'm showing a little bit of value with Stefan Castle and Keldon Johnson, possibly. Like Keldon Johnson's 4,200, so he's getting a little bit high for studs and duds lineup. But Stefan Castle's is 3,400 is all. Gonna get 25 minutes. That's hard. That's gonna be hard not to get value there, I think. You guys see anybody else on there?
Not of any good value. I'll tell you that Middleton's questionable and Giannis is questionable. So
That might be why the spread is so tight right now.
yeah, Sochan is out.
So this could be one that you want to monitor really close tomorrow, because if let's say Chris Middleton and Giannis are out, then all of a sudden Damian probably looks like a really good play.
Jackson Jr. is also questionable, so that's three big. Jackson's not quite as big, but that's still three decent, players in Milwaukee out. Yeah, Lillard might have a big night.
Mm-hmm. So I'd look at Stephen Castle in my lineups, and then if you hear tomorrow that Giannis and Chris Middleton are out, then I would lean on Dame. Victor, man, they're wanting 11,500 for Victor. That's crazy.
I just read an article about his first 100 games in the NBA, and believe it or not, they believe he's exceeding expectations based on statistical numbers of what was expected.
I think I've been surprised at how well he shoots it. I know they said he shot it well, but it's different in an NBA game on an NBA floor with an NBA three-point line. He's a decent shooter already. All right, anything else you guys seeing on this?
No. Victor Wembanyama, he's an interesting play. I really am frustrated that the Jazz did not tank that year or the year after, and we've won three games in a row.
Yeah, we're just outside of the 14% now for Shy or for Cooper
flag.
Let me ask you this. Say the Jazz land in that top tier of 14% chance. Do you think the league rigs at all to ensure a player like a Cooper Flag or a Victor would not come to the Jazz?
I don't know. By your same logic, they hate Cleveland and they let LeBron and Kyrie go to Cleveland.
But I honestly think that's just due to the storyline it created that LeBron was from there.
Yeah, but not for Kyrie. There's nothing there for that.
Yeah, but Kyrie, wasn't he injured all year at Duke?
He was injured, but still.
And they felt bad for Dan Gilbert losing LeBron. Had to give him something. What have the Jazz lost? Quinn Snyder?
Donovan Mitchell? Rudy Gobert?
Darren Williams?
Mentioned Darren Williams. He's been out of the league a long time, and Chris Paul is in this game tonight. How many more years can Chris Paul go?
The year Darren, like his last year, I think was the year like when his last year, and then the next year, Chris Paul, I think, signed that 3-year, $100 million deal with the Suns. Do you think Darren was depressed when he read that or saw that, or do you think he's content with his life and where he's at?
I don't know. I can't imagine that he's happy with the way it ended, just as competitive as he was. I mean, when they'd match up with Darren Williams and Chris Paul, it was like Darren Williams had a different look in his eye, man. It was just like he was coming at Chris Paul so hard.
Have you guys seen that YouTube mix of Darren Williams last year in Cleveland?
No.
It's like a 2-minute video. Some poor Darren put together this video, and Darren looks like the worst player in the NBA for just 2 straight minutes in Cleveland.
Oh.
Made me sad.
I love some D
I've
Williams.
been watching similar videos of Bronny James. Bronny James is back on the roster. Here's what he does: shows 2 passes, and then that's it. That's just how it goes.
Do you see he went off for 30 the other night?
Well, that's not as funny as the highlight reel memes. Okay, stick with those.
Is the other James better than Bronny, the younger one?
I think so.
I think he just signed with Arizona.
Yeah.
Elders, real quick, I'm going to give you one more hot take that's not related to the NBA. I'm not impressed with DeMar Hamlin.
Okay.
Not impressed. Not impressed. You got 1 interception, and everyone thinks he's the greatest safety in the league. I don't even know if he's a safety.
All right.
Moving on.
Hey, in the name of the playoffs, you got to keep it going.
So I think our takeaway so far, my favorite play so far that we've talked about as a recap, I like Shea. I like Lou Dort. I like Damian if the rest of Milwaukee is out. And then I would fade Portland and the Pelicans game so far.
There's a few more games. I don't know that we're going to have time to go through all of them. We got Chicago, Indiana. It seems like our data analyzer really likes Tyrese Halliburton a lot of the times.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
You got Washington, Philadelphia, Toronto, New York, Detroit, Brooklyn, and LA, Denver. But with Jokic being out, that makes it less enticing. I know I listed a lot of names or a lot of teams there, but any players that you've kind of been tracking or any thoughts you have on?
Just doing some sorting. Looks like Justin Edwards is going to get some run tomorrow for Philadelphia. Now, I'm pretending like I know who Justin Edwards is, but I do not. But he's going to get 23 minutes tomorrow. His salary is at $3,100, averaging almost a fantasy point a minute. That's going to be an easy value at $3,100. You can pencil him in, give you room to get. You could get Shea and Damian in your lineup, and then fill it out with guys like Justin Edwards.
Are we going to be getting I saw Jace back there in his Batman pajamas. I think that was Jace. Are we going to be getting his hot takes tonight?
It's up to you guys.
Well, I seen he was peeking in to see if he was ready.
Oh, well, that was Jet, I think.
Oh, wrong.
But I
Tonight,
came out.
Squire Patty Mills has shot 14 shots in 18 minutes tonight.
So today I'm going to tell you.
You guys seeing Jace right now?
Yeah, we see him rolling.
All right.
The most, what we're trying to say is the most points per minute that you should play for away and home players. So let's start with away. First, we got John Morant, who would get for fantasy points per minute differential from home and away. It has 0.616 more away fantasy points per minute, and Christian Braun has 0.14. Desmond Bain has 0.11. Kawhi Leonard has 0.10, and Cat has 0.19.
So those are players that he researched that have better fantasy points per minute numbers on the road than they do at home. So I thought that was interesting just to keep an eye on. Like a lot of times the Grizzly it looked like all of last year the Grizzly players played better on the road than they did at home, which was weird. Maybe nobody likes Memphis, or I don't know, but they're just happy to get out of Memphis. But Memphis on the road, those players play better on the road than they do at home. And then you did home players that play better at home.
These are the 5. And then home, you got Donovan Mitchell, 0.24. Joel Embiid, 0.23. Jordan Clarkson, 0.18. Mikal Bridges, 0.15. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, 0.15.
Scott said he had his name right.
Yeah, I appreciate that your 8-year-old can pronounce his name correctly.
Yeah. So are we in OKC or are we in Cleveland tomorrow?
It's in. Let me check. In Cleveland.
Okay. So Donovan and Shea both have significantly better splits at home than they do on the road. But I still am going to take the Lou factor and take Donovan out of it tomorrow. I think Lou's the Donovan stopper. But I thought that was interesting. He did that research. Like guys like Clarkson was up there, Joel Embiid, Donovan, Shea all play significantly better at home than they do on the road. Ja, Desmond Bain, Mikal Bridges all play better on the road than they do at home.
It's good info. Hey, if we're not going through any more games, I do want to, maybe we can suggest, I know Scott's coming close to the end of his 7-day free trial. Maybe, and I know that we don't have a ton of listeners. Possibly we could give away a free 7-day trial to one of our listeners, and maybe Bree could get that for Scott.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. She's listening right now, so
give us a comment on who you think is going to have a better game tomorrow, Shai or Donovan Mitchell, in our YouTube comments, and we'll give away a free Fantasy Hacker subscription.
Oh, that's nice.
I hope Bree heard that.
She said she's in.
All right. Other values that we didn't talk about. Just looking, that was a really big one that I mentioned, the Justin Edwards. Another one, Kelly Oubre for Philadelphia. I think Embiid's out, so you're going to have a lot of value in Philadelphia. Washington is terrible on defense and plays fast. So I'd load up with Philly guys. I put Shai and I put Lou in there. And then I'd try to get our boy Damian Lillard in if Milwaukee's out. That's the way how I'd start kind of going into tomorrow with that in mind.
Real quick, for any of our listeners who are not here for fantasy sports, but they're more here for home improvement or building. Josie, do you have a quick pearl of wisdom you could share with our listeners?
On who specifically?
You weren't listening, were you?
In that exact moment, I was reading about Patty Mills. I can't shake Patty Mills from my head right now.
It was a door question, Elder. It was a door question.
I want to know why Patty Mills played 18 minutes and has taken 14 shots.
Are you serious?
Yes. I don't understand. Like Patty is
He hasn't played since game 3.
Yeah, I'm troubled. I just don't understand why Patty's shooting the ball.
He doesn't get to play, might as well.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Let it fly, man.
What was the question, Elder?
Here's my question. I said for all of our listeners who are not here for sports or for fantasy sports, but they're here more for like home improvement tips, trying to get that door to fit quite right. What do you have for them? Any pearls?
Well, what I like to do, Elders, especially in the winter time, when you're installing doors, you want it as a quick way to see if this door is going to work or not for you, is especially if you're in cold climates, is you want to get a lighter of some kind out, put it close to the door, not touching the door, close enough, and then watch the wood. If it expands, it's not going to be a good door not going to work in the frame. It's going to be tight. You're not going to be able to get it open and closed very easily in the winter as it gets colder. If it stays firm, doesn't show any type of flex, you're set. I would go with that door. Especially, and again, this is speaking cold climates only. If we're talking doors in Miami, somewhere in the heat, you're going to have totally different door options. So, but since being in Utah and where we're at, that's what you're going to want to focus on.
I think legally we need to state that we completely reject that terrible advice.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's advice. I would say that if you're looking for a door that can withstand the cold temperatures of Utah, you're going to want to make sure this door don't bend in the cold. You're not going to be able to get your door open, Elder.
Fantasy Hacker Podcast does not condone nor endorse Josie's personal opinions on lighter door expansion methods, which are unreal. Could not.
Unreal as in successful. Unreal. Like that.
Hold a lighter to a half-inch section of a 3-foot by 8 door and be able to visibly see it expand or contract. That's not even real.
Well, maybe with your door, Elder. Your door's made
a general contractor.
Yeah.
You're
you
not
don't
really
specialize in doors.
Anymore, so.
I focus specifically with doors.
Thanks for listening to the Fantasy Hackers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to Fantasy Hackers on YouTube and follow us on X for real-time fantasy basketball updates.
Hey, I got a big ask.